Hello my guys, gals and non-binary pals to a new video on Them Fatales. My name is Alicia, my pronouns are she, they, and today we are continuing watching Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls.
Watch out for the big girls, watch out for the big girls.
Before we get into it, let me quickly thank our Patreons because without their support we couldn't be here. Our channel is not big enough to even be eligible for monetization or support brands, sponsorships, kind of stuff. No, we're this big. So any help that they provide is what is basically helping us going on. So in case you like what we do and you are in a comfortable and safe economical position, you can check out Patreon to see if you want to support our work as well. We have a few scripts now ready to have new video essays, and we have this series which every day, sort of like that, often videos are out. If you would prefer a one-off donation, there's also the option of PayPal. And now, without any further ado, let's get into the second episode of Watch Out for the Big Girls. This is the second episode and it's called the HBCU Band. Let's get into it. Let's waste no time.
Y'all ladies ready to move in?
Let's go! It's important to me that I put these girls in an environment where they can thrive, that is a safe space, that is fucking chic and fly. No, we're Ashley Jayla! I'm with Jayla! So I want to treat these girls good. I want to treat them as good as I treat myself, because that's what they deserve.
So you know how in reality TV we've been used for the last 20 years now to have participants in very luscious, luxurious houses, and usually that's for the audience rather than the people there, because there's a whole wrong kind of disposition at this point we have, where we know mediocrity in everyday life, so the media try to portray the glitz and glitter and all that kind of stuff, and it's all part of the spectacle to show to us and to involve us in seeing the beauty, the desirable, and all of that. And big houses and mansions are part of it, and usually, again, it's for the use and consume of the audience. The fact that Lizzo here goes, it's because I want to treat you girls right. Like, of course, being in reality TV, would rather watch a place with all that opulence rather than a barn. It's nice. It's nice that the way that she spins it is about making them feel worth it, because you're worth it, because you deserve it. Because Lord knows if a fat girl is used not to feel worth it as a person, as a human being. There's an everyday thing in being outside and know how most people are looking at you badly because there's something about the fact that we occupy space that it's seen as a fault, because it's our fault being fat. Here in the UK especially, there's a narrative that because the NHS, the National Health Service, is very politicized, one of the narratives spun in recent years is contributing to the hatred of fat people, because there's the narrative of fat people are a drain on the NHS. We all pay for the NHS with taxes to then have healthcare provided, and fat people are taking more than other people because just by choice of having that body and that lifestyle, they take it from all the rest, and so it should be taken from them. Simply the comfortableness of walking in the street and feeling like they can be entitled to that. How dare you? So it's nice when that is the everyday life of a fat girl, as I know it, to feel that someone is like, no, you're worth it, girl. I want you to live well and to enjoy these things. Because the default is, no, the world wants to take away from you everything, including the right to just walk down the street and not be verbally assaulted because you fat cow.
shoe off, but I'm scared it might hurt.
Because you said it feels better in a heel, right?
Yeah.
That one.
I gotta ice my foot.
During the dance battle, I felt and heard a pop when I landed in my cartwheel into a split. I didn't feel the pain initially, but I'm thinking something's not right because when I'm walking, I feel this tightness and this pain that is just unbearable.
Sydney got injured during the one-on-one battle. It's I think there's a bit that they will talk about later, which actually I might just take in advance because it talks about what I think I would like to say about it.
Wait, how's your knee? Why is it's all raptied?
Well, probably over a decade ago, I was doing some kind of floor movement and like my kneecap moved and I kind of just like moved it back in place. Didn't really know how to teach full-figured girls how to properly move around the floor because our weight is heavier on our limbs.
Yeah,
That's just
make
the reality
things work
of it
with
is.
the body that you have. I notice a lot of bigger girls always have knee problems, always have ankle problems because they're not teaching us how to compensate for close in first position with a bigger thigh.
Right.
Ariana says it so well. So one of my worries with Sydney getting injured because she performed so much. She did like cartwheels and splits in the one-on-one battle, and now she was injured. It's just a sprained ankle, but you know, right there in the evening, it was uncomfortable. It wasn't good. She has to go see a doctor. And then later in the episode, again, there's this bit that we just saw, and again, coming from Drag Race, I think from the Eureka incident in season 9, and then last season, in season 3 here in the UK, Victoria Scone had the same issue. There's this thing that seems to give in to the people who are coming against fat bodies, saying, see, with a fat body, you try to do all the athletic stuff, the dancing stuff, you'll injure yourself. So that is not the right body to be in. And it always worried me, like it always made me feel like the detractors had a point. That Ariana brings up the fact that, oh, you know, they think that big girls can't do this stuff. It's just because nobody teaches us how to move and bring our limbs together and account for the fact that we have bigger thighs, which makes me feel that like she's been taught and she knows this. So once again, it's not necessarily the fault of our bodies. The fault lies in society not caring about our existence and the existence of our bodies and how to adapt things to allow us to be part of it. The default answer is always, you shouldn't exist as you are. And they try to come along with explanations like because it's unhealthy, because you can't carry your body, because you don't have stamina, because you don't have breath. But every single minute of the show is showing us that that's not the case. They have stamina, they have breath, they can do cartwheels, they can do amazing things. They risk injuring themselves, not because of their bodies, because society never cared about explaining how to handle bigger bodies differently than skinny bodies. And we always pay the price. Anyway, let's go back to actually where we were.
We're all here together, going for one goal.
We got 10 spots,
and we're gonna fill them all.
We're gonna rise together, and no one is gonna be left behind.
Ariana, a girl after my own heart. So there's back to the beginning, there's the party after they all get into the mansion, they're all talking to each other. And as I mentioned in the first video, this kind of complicity, this kind of friendship, sisterhood amongst a group of girls, I have never experienced, and I would have loved so much. Like already I had to find a family of election because I'm queer, I'm fat, I had to go no contacts with my parents because they were narcissists. So it's you know, there's a lot of things that I understand about choosing the people to have around, and I wish there had been a situation where I just had a group of girls around me and I didn't have to be the butt of the joke. in all the situations like that, like I used to go to summer camp and we were split between boys and girls. And the thing was, I was always the butt of the joke, like nobody would want to be in the double lines we would do with me because she's the fat one. Like it would be contagious. I'm not sure what was I think the perception is, again, that society so dislikes fat bodies that anybody close to them by association, even just being friends or being, again, in the line for summer camp with them, they're just exposed to ridicule by proximity, and so people avoided me because of that. So it's nice to hear nobody is going to be left behind, we're all here together. I think it's wonderful that they remove the element of the competition, and so without having to think you're going to be here because you need to send somebody home, this genuinely allows for, yes, this is a sisterhood. And yes, Ariana, thank you.
What the heck?
There's a freaking marching band in the house right now, going up and down the stairs, banging on the drums. It's so loud, my ears are ringing. What are we about to do right now?
They are wearing freaking bonnets. Okay. As I mentioned, I have a lot of white passing privilege, as you look at me, but I'm half Egyptian, so North African, Arab, and I'm not quite sure how my ethnicity is called, but it's that. But I was raised by a white mother. My father wasn't in the picture, so I have gone through a lot of hassle with my hair. I don't quite have on the scale of curls, mine are 3B, 3A. So I haven't experienced proper kinky curls like 4s. But especially coming from a family that doesn't know how to handle curls, there was a lot of self-discovery that lasted for a long amount of time. I've recently, like in the last 10 years, discovered that when you have curls, it's useful to sleep in a satin bonnet or use satin scarves and that kind of thing. And I just found that through deciding actively to do a lot of work to try and maintain my hair, which you don't see because it's under this wonderful wig today, as it was yesterday, because I can't be bothered doing all the work that my hair requires to be on camera. If I were to do that, I wouldn't have done a video, so that's the reason. And I discovered accepting that I had to learn about my hair, going on groups for curly girls and stuff like that, that amongst other things, satin bonnets can change your life. But other than going and hunting and finding it in very niche ways, like in very niche places, like specifically groups for curly girls, nowhere in the world, if I hadn't gone seeking this kind of information, I had ever been shown the fact that, guess what? Curly girls sleep in bonnets. They wake up in the mansion and you see them just coming in on the outside in the pool area, and they have bonnets. And I've never seen in a TV show a curly girl waking up and shown in her bonnet. And it's part of those things that if the media don't present them to us, and it's mass media, it's the only way that we know how the world works by example, we don't know. I needed to find out in my 30s about satin bonnets. If it had been shown to me, I'm glad that it's been shown now, so that girls can find out, hopefully earlier than I did, that hey, satin bonnets, they change your life.
Mo is, I think, one of the best dancers here, but she is kind of having a little bit of trouble like picking up some of the choreography really quickly, just because, you know, a lot of us come from different places and we learn differently. But I'm definitely going to do everything I can to try to make sure that she can like get what we're trying to get, because this is a group effort.
Again, Ariana, a girl after my own heart. Moesha has some troubles picking up choreography, and Ariana makes this point, I'll do my best to help her pick up, because this is part of being a group, and this is going to be a group effort. And I wish we were more used, and I hope that this is the beginning of us seeing more and more a representation of women, people supporting each other, because I think it's part of every narrative, whether it's sold to us as fiction or non-fiction or documentary or reality. Every story that is told through media needs to follow a certain amount of steps in a narrative. One of those is overcoming an issue, an antagonism that usually it's easy to bring in people. So putting two people against one another. And when the protagonist of a story is a girl, it's very unusual that the antagonist is going to be a man, because in a patriarchal society, it's not even considered a possibility that they could be on the same plane to actually be competitive. Like I think in patriarchal minds, the man wins by default, or there are situations that then are told in stories like, oh, if there's competition between the two, think about how to lose a guy in 10 days. Oh, there's competition because in the end they fall in love. So there's never actually the possibility of an antagonist being a man for a woman, just because there's no play at all. It's not even a level plan. So the point is always pitting two women against each other. And that's such a common narrative. So it's so refreshing to hear girls talk about each other like this, with this kind of mindset. And I can only hope that the more we are exposed to it, the more we will change our habits and our way of thinking.
Are you hungry?
Yes. What's on the menu?
It's rice. Yummy, 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 yummy.
I am speechless. We are actually showing big girls eating on camera. Maybe it's only my experience, but every other big girl that I've spoken to, we all have this fear since immemorial time to eat in public. You cannot be seen eating. There is no way with eating in public. If you eat a salad, people are going to think, I think Dietland literally has this discussion happening. If you're eating a salad, they will think, oh, darling, who you gonna fool? Like, you wouldn't look like that if you eat salad. And if you eat whatever else, they're just gonna think, see, that's why you're fat. So there's just no win. You cannot eat in public. Eating in public is such a stressful thing that I do not wish that on anyone. The fact that in this safe space among each other, they can eat in front of each other, and then it's filmed and it's shown and it's normalized. Oh yes, guess what? We eat because otherwise we die. And one of the things, I don't even remember when it was told to me, but I see it repeated so often, my brain just goes there. There is this belief in people, in fat-phobic people, especially the ones that love to eat fat people, that, you know what, if you only would want to make the effort, you would just stop eating altogether until you're skinny. Which is something that at time I've tried to do. It's part of the eating disorder that I developed. There's a very bizarre belief that anorexia and bulimia are at the two different ends of the spectrum of eating disorders, and somehow we give more nobility to anorexia because guess what? It manifests, they think, usually in a bigger body. But in reality, they are the two face of the same coin, and usually through an eating disorder you go through both, because those are mental illnesses and behaviors. Anorexia is not eating, bulimia is eating and throwing up, binging and purging. So the thing that I remember being said to me is usually a variation on, oh well, you can say what you want, that you have tried to lose weight or anything, that you've tried to fast and stuff, but really you haven't, because there was no one fat in Auschwitz. And that stuck with me. I might be living with that for over 20 years. Every time that I feel that my body is out of control, which is most days, that is the voice that tells me you should stop eating altogether, which at times works, and then I do it and I damage myself, and then of course there's a rebound effect where your body will demand you to eat. And before I told this to Raven, my wife, I was just told, as in, take that as an example. There were no fat people in Auschwitz, so just stop eating, like it was imposed to the people in concentration camps. And nobody before Raven told me there wasn't a choice. No healthy body can go on willingly depriving itself. In the Minnesota Starvation Experiment, which on my previous channel is the kind of stuff that I needed to find and study, people were going insane on 1,500 calories. Like they were cutting their limbs. The obsession became such with food and with the fact that they didn't have it, that bringing the example of Auschwitz as a provocation, as a validation of fat girls not eating so that we can fit in whatever kind of mold the society expects of us. I can't believe that people can go so low, but that is something that has been so buried deep in my head that voice will always come out when something is less than acceptable for me. And that is the reason why it's so important to see that fat girls live, breathe, dance, eat, and they do all these things because it's just part of life. The expectation that we don't deserve to eat because we have enough reserve. And people genuinely go around saying fat phobia doesn't exist.
It's a doggone pity. Oh, you looking so fine. Here come the girl.
I'm speechless. So they are doing the majorettes, band dancing, and they don't have tights on. So it's the first time that I see again these bodies with this kind of texture, with this kind of skin, with this kind of fullness, natural and out. They have pigmentation. They have it's real, and it's so bizarre that it has to be shocking because it's the first time that I see it apart that on myself.
May I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you trained?
Yes, I've been dancing since I was 2 years old.
What styles?
Ballet, tap, jazz, musical theater, lyrical, contemporary, hip hop, and...
Girl, the list.
I did a little bit of modern.
Well, as a choreographer, you feel good and complete when a dancer does your moves better than you can do them.
So Tanisha is a choreographer and goes to say to Rihanna, as a choreographer you feel complete when somebody does your moves better than you can do them. That is the point of what I'm talking about elevating each other. I understand that it takes to be in a safe position to feel comfortable enough to praise someone else, but that is what makes confidence, like being safe in who you are, that you then can elevate others without fearing for your position being overtaken.
you're 100% that bitch!
This is how I feel about the awards here. I don't need one. I don't need to be reminded that I have the juice or that I'm 100% that bitch. Because I already know that I am 100% that bitch and then I have the juice. These awards are being given out to people who internally need to be reminded that they are wonderful.
Jasmine. Jasmine, why? So even earlier in the episode, which I haven't necessarily brought here, but it was part of the scene where Jasmine had the knee wrapped and then she took the wrap off and then she sort of patronized a little bit Ariana. She wanted to call her little sis and Ariana was seeing completely through that. And she was like, well, why are you trying to belittle me? You think I'm stupid enough not to see it? And Jasmine seemed like to really want one of these awards until, right, well, she didn't get it, Ariana got it. And she turns like that. That is part of what makes me uncomfortable about competition. Because in the way that I know it and I've seen it, again, it's not just trying to do your best. There's also a good part of energy that is dedicated to take someone else down. And I can't see that. It's just, why? That will always make me want to remove myself from the equation, which I appreciate. It's my issue, it's my problem. It's my weakness because there's a lot of situations, work situation, professional situations in which I have done that. I've just taken a step back and was like, this environment is not for me. This kind of antagonism is what is expected of me. So I don't understand the mindset of someone that probably thinks like Jasmine did in this. Like, I'm sure that she really wanted it, but turning sour that way. There's a fable that we have. It's not just part of Italy. It's a Greek fable actually about the fox and the grape. And so basically, the fox and the grape is this fox really wants to reach out for the grape, but the grape is standing too tall, and so the fox can't reach it, and really wants it but can't reach it. And so because it can't reach it, the fox turns around and was like, I didn't want it because it was sour anyway. It's a worrisome attitude. Like, why can't you just be happy for yourself? Why can't you just focus inwards and grow? If you want to use the fact that other people have won the award and not you, I would look inwards to think, well, what else can I do? Turning it around with, oh, I don't need it, other people need it because they are insecure. It's not a good look. I mean, I know that it's, again, the look of competition that we like to give the world, that we have based every narrative in the world. But I genuinely hoped that it was not going to be part of this show. And maybe it's the exception. That was actually my last note for episode 2 of Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls. I hope that you liked it. I hope that I said something interesting. If you want to ask me questions, share your experience, anything at all, please do leave a comment. And I genuinely like so much to be doing these videos that interaction coming from them, I long for it very, very much. So I will probably do my best to put these out the day after the first episode was out. So maybe we can do it for at least a few days. Not, I can't promise for 8 days in a row, but I'll try to do my best to actually deliver as quickly as possible, a day after the other. Let's make this happen. In case you want to, I've actually opened a TikTok and I'm putting snippets of these videos on Instagram and on TikTok if I happen to say something that sort of have a lot of meaning, it can be compressed in a minute. It's on those platforms as well. So if you want snippets here and there, they have captions as well. You find them on TikTok and on Instagram. And I will see you soon for episode 3, which it might be my favorite. There's a lot that I want to talk about that. So I will see you for episode 3.